We thank you for joining us here for the ABC4 News at 4 o'clock. I'm Emily Flores.
And I'm Courtney Johns. And today we are starting with the Utah mom accused of murdering her husband by poisoning him in 2022 with fentanyl and then writing a children's book about grief after. She appeared in court this afternoon for a scheduled conference.
Yes, ABC4 Sierra Ryder joining us live in studio with more from that conference. Sierra.
The atmosphere of the courtroom feeling particularly tense this afternoon as Richins prepares for what's to come. Richins patiently sat with her attorney as discussions about additional information to argue the case unfolded. But it was quick, lasting just about 15 minutes. The biggest discussions revolving around setting a preliminary hearing. State prosecutors feeling prepared to move forward with a date, but Richins' attorney asking for more time.
Realistically, I don't think there's any way we can be prepared for a prelim, just with the amount of documents and information that we need to get through until after the first of the year. And I'm thinking more like February or March, and I hate to do that to my client.
Towards the end of the conference, the judge inclined to schedule the hearing soon, but opting to set another scheduling conference on November 3rd, taking into consideration the volume of documents attorneys will need to go through. Courtney.
All right, thank you. All right, now we are going to turn to defense attorney Clayton Sims to give us a little bit more perspective on this case itself. We're going to join him now in studio. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
So for a lot of people who haven't been covering this case closely, that we're talking about a scheduling conference. For people who aren't aware of that, what exactly is a scheduling conference?
And it's just an opportunity to check in and see where the prosecutor is and the defense attorney is on the case. There's a lot of material in this case. There's insurance information, there's people's phones. Just think about all the information that's contained on your phone. Text messages, emails, Google searches, and there's multiple people involved. So there's a lot of material to go through in this particular case.
Now, this is the second scheduling conference that they've had. The last one was in June, I believe, where they talked for about 5 minutes. That was how long the session lasted. Now we have another one ahead. How much longer do you think this could take? I think a lot of people are wondering, why aren't we moving forward at this point?
Right. Well, a person does have a right to a speedy trial, but what does that mean in a murder case? That you don't want to do things the wrong way, because it'll end up in an appeal and maybe the case will be overturned. So I think the judge is giving them the time that they need to go through the materials. One of the things that is interesting is that there could be additional charges. And so it's a financial motive in this case. It's allegedly murder for financial gain. And so it's very important to go through the financial documents, the will, trusts, again, insurance payments. So I think that there's a lot of material to go through in this particular case that is the motive for the murder.
And as you mentioned, there are so many different materials that the defense and the prosecution has to review. And I think a lot of people understand the complexity of the case, but they're wondering, when will we actually see a trial at this point? You know, we mentioned the amount of work it will take. What do you expect, given your expertise? When do you think that we could actually see Kouri Richins in trial?
Well, I think a trial could be 9 months, a year away. And again, a trial would be weeks. It would be maybe a month and a half to lay out all of the things that happened in this particular case. Again, there's other individuals involved with drug distribution. How did she obtain the fentanyl was what the prosecutor is going to look at, and what was the motivation behind that. There's a lot to prove, and again, the actual mechanism of death is weak in terms of evidence, but so they're going to try to boost that up by looking at the financial documents.
And you mentioned that I know a lot of people have talked about that, you know, whether or not the cup in question was tested for fentanyl. Given the background of the case and given what you know in these cases, how likely do you think it is that it will go to trial as opposed to seeing a plea deal? I know they've already taken the death penalty off the table, but what can we expect at this point?
Plea deals are uncommon in murder cases. I think people can't really compromise. She's looking at 25 years to life. If she takes a deal, she probably would spend the rest of her life in prison. So I think that people generally fight cases like this. She's maintained her innocence. She claims that she didn't commit the murder, and she could be convicted of other offenses, but not the murder. So I think that this is going to go to trial, absolutely.
All right, Clayton Sims, thank you so much for your expertise on this complicated subject. And of course, we will continue to follow this developing case as we learn more information. Clayton Sims, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.